Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Brett Scott here with your KSN forecast. First, Wesco Home Furnishings Tower Cam. Still some low clouds and drizzle over Joplin, but in more western portions of the area, we are seeing a little bit of a clearing trend, likely due to some drier air beginning to filter in from the north and west. That should gradually be the case as we head over the next few hours. And what we're also seeing is temperatures starting to fall into the primarily low and mid 40s. So we're cooling off. And we're not seeing a whole lot in the way of precipitation on the Freeman Health First Alert Doppler, but the colder air is on the way after a front passes through where winds are going to increase as well. And we'll likely start out tomorrow morning in the low 30s, and we won't warm up a whole lot throughout the day tomorrow. Over to you, Jessica.
Brett, thanks so much. A house reportedly explodes in a Commerce neighborhood with one person inside, what we know so far. And Joplin police get a bit of a tech upgrade to do their jobs. Plus, a donation to the Ronald McDonald House has a personal meaning. Your KSN 16 local news at 6 starts now.
This is KSN 16, your local news at 6, with Jessica Shear, Jeremiah Cook, and meteorologist Brett Scott.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. Firefighters respond to a report of a house explosion in the city of Commerce. Now, when they arrived in the 400 block of North Elm, just after 1:30 this afternoon, Quapaw Nation Fire Chief Sammy Freeman says the house was fully involved. He also said a back wall did appear to be blown out, likely indicating an explosion, but said the fire marshal will have to make that final determination. One person was inside at the time, but Freeman refrained from speaking any further on any injuries, saying the fire marshal will release that information after the investigation. He does credit the responding crews for putting the fire out so quickly and making sure there were no further injuries.
Quapaw Nation, Commerce Volunteer Department, and Quapaw Volunteer Department. And these guys done an outstanding job, made a fantastic stop on the house. Upon arrival, like I said, it was fully involved.
The fire marshal now takes over the investigation. And the Crawford County Sheriff's Office is investigating a house fire where a woman was found dead. Crews responded to 389 South 190th Street near Pittsburgh just after 7 Saturday morning for a report of that house fire. Once inside, they found a woman dead. Her body has been transported to Kansas City for an autopsy to determine the cause of death. Authorities are not releasing her name until a positive identification can be made. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. A wide-ranging tech upgrade is helping Joplin police keep the city safe more quickly and efficiently. JPD is nearing the end of an upgrade to its computer-aided dispatch and records management system that includes things like 911 dispatch, jail records, investigations, and ticket writing. The transfer to the new system brought more than 600,000 name records from the last 30 years. It also streamlined evidence storage for easier access.
It's a more efficient way of really retaining evidence, whether it's video, audio, photo evidence.
The new system is called Pro Suite and went live earlier this year. They are still working on the final fix, which will allow 911 calls to transfer seamlessly between Joplin, Jasper County, and Newton County dispatch systems. An interim sheriff has been appointed in Delaware County. It is Ray Thomas, the current sheriff-elect for the county. Thomas defeated now former Sheriff James Beck in an election this past June by 559 votes. Beck resigned as sheriff last week due to personal reasons. County officials say today's appointment for Thomas will run through the remainder of Beck's term. Thomas will undergo a second oath of office in January. The Kansas Department of Commerce announces more than $400,000 in grants to bring new visitors to the state. Lieutenant Governor David Tolan named 13 recipients today for the Fall 2024 Attraction Development Grant, 3 of them in southeast Kansas. Cherokee County was awarded $25,000. Another $25,000 went to T.E. Freeman Studio in Fort Scott to help local businesses develop new attractions. Also in Fort Scott, the Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes got $6,300 to develop a new history panel featuring an unsung hero who saved hundreds of children from starving in Ukraine. The Attraction Development Grant is designed to amplify the unique aspects of Kansas by driving tourism, creating jobs, and investing capital in local communities. An I-44 bridge project is on hold until the spring. MoDOT has halted the rehabilitation of the bridge on I-44 near exit 6 until spring. That means both westbound I-44 lanes will be open to traffic near Main Street in Joplin. The median crossovers will be closed and the eastbound and westbound on-ramps at the exit will remain closed. However, both I-44 off-ramps at exit 6 will be open. The speed limit in that area will be 60 miles per hour. It's a financial boost for the house that Love built. Reese Nichols Real Estate donated nearly $5,000 to the Ronald McDonald House of the Four States. That funding comes from their Gold Key program, where agents can opt in to donate money from the sale of the house. Now, this check includes home sales in Neosho and Mount Vernon. It's a project that is very personal to Nina Mosier, who stayed there when her first daughter was born.
I'm so grateful that we have this here in our community and that we are able to donate to the cause and that it's able to continue to help families.
Our guests, by and large, we say that they can stay here for free, but we do ask for a $10 donation just to help kind of cover some of the costs. So if you take that number and divide it over $10 per room night, that's a lot of families eating a lot of meals and having a good night's sleep here at the Ronald McDonald House.
This is the 4th year for a Gold Key donation from Reese Nichols to the Ronald McDonald House. The project also supports Ronald McDonald House in Springfield. Coming up, you can make your gifts look extra nice this year while helping out a good cause. And a long-standing toy drive in McDonald County will help dozens of local children. Have a happy holiday. But first time now for our Red, White, and Blue salute. David Babe Sidney Logan was a private first class in the U.S. Marine Corps and served in World War II. We salute you, David Babe Sidney Logan, and we thank you for our freedom. If anyone else would like to nominate a veteran, military personnel, or a public servant like a police officer, go to our Red, White, and Blue salute. It's on our website, fourstateshomepage.com.
Now, from the station you count on for local news that matters, this is KSN 16, your local news at 6.
Well, if you don't have time or talent or the talent to wrap Christmas gifts, there's help available and you can give back at the same time. For a donation, a group of people in Carthage, part of Kenzie's Cruisers, will do the wrapping for you. It's happening for the 17th year in a row. The name of the group belongs to Kenzie Chrisman, who has cystic fibrosis. Now, her relatives started the holiday wrapping tradition to raise money for CF research.
What you'll do is bring your gifts in, we'll sign you up, we'll put your names on them, and then we will wrap them, as you've probably seen. So, and then we'll give you a call, and you'll come up and pick them up and leave a donation.
Lodima Martin, by the way, is Kenzie Chrisman's grandmother. She says Kenzie is now 19, in good health, and in college. So this all takes place near the intersection of Centennial and Missouri in Carthage. The group also has a Facebook page. We have that link on 4stateshomepage.com. An organization in McDonald County is working to ensure children have gifts under the tree on Christmas morning. Secret Santa of McDonald County is nearing the end of its Christmas toy drive, which started nearly 20 years ago with just one family. It has since grown to include 118 children, each who have sponsors to purchase toys and necessities for them. However, there are nearly 45 who do not have a sponsor, so the program is relying on public donations.
I think that children deserve magic for as long as they can have magic, because this world takes it from them. And so the longer that they get to have it, and if that's believing in Santa Claus for that extra year when they know that times are tough and their parents can't afford it, then that's just what it is.
Dozens of drop-off boxes are set up across the county, including each of the McDonald County Library locations in Pineville, Knoll, and Southwest City. Donations can be new or gently used toys, books, clothing, and coats. All are being accepted through Monday, December 16th. Let's talk about our weather now. We're talking about coat weather. Meteorologist Brett Scott joining us with a look at our forecast. One thing I did notice about today, it felt like that gloomy winter day out there.
Yeah, definitely felt like December out there, even though temperatures were a bit more mild than what we're used to. But that is going to change. These clouds are expected to actually recede a bit. Still can see some drizzle through this evening, but we'll see cold temperatures by tonight. More details coming up next. Here's your almanac.
And now, from the KSN 16 Freeman Live First Alert Doppler Storm Center, weather with meteorologist Brett Scott.
Hello everyone and good Monday evening. Wesco Home Furnishings Tower Cam still observing some low clouds out there across Joplin and of course just a little bit of drizzle. But if we were to look to the west, we may actually see a little bit more of some clear skies starting to consistently be the case for our westernmost areas. As you can see, the lower cloud area indicated by these yellow colors is starting to recede a bit, and we're starting to see a bit more dry air move into our more northwestern regions. Freeman Health First Alert Doppler, not much to see in terms of precipitation, although some drizzle is going to continue to be possible out of those low clouds. Low to mid 40s though with those temperatures, so we're cooling, maybe some upper 40s and low 50s the farther south you go. And of course, we're seeing essentially winds calming down as well, only at about 3 to 8 miles an hour at best out of the north. These are actually expected to increase a bit as we head throughout tonight. As you can see, dry air is starting to move into portions of southeast Kansas and also portions of northern southwest Missouri. Still a little bit more available moisture to the south, likely where those clouds still remain and where we're still likely to see a bit more drizzle. As you can see on water vapor imagery, we're monitoring an upper level low pressure feature to our north and west that is going to continue to pivot across our area over the next day and even into our Wednesday, where it'll start to move off to the east, and we'll start to see what we call a bit more zonal flow across essentially our region, but across a good portion of the continental United States, which is basically just west to east flow aloft. And then we are going to see the potential of another wave moving in from the west, especially by late Thursday and then into our Friday. What we are going to see out of this initial wave is cool temperatures moving in at the mid-levels of the atmosphere, which is going to promote cooler temperatures at the surface as well, which will have the further potential of being reinforced by another branch of cold air as we head even through our Wednesday. We're going to continue to see the cold temperatures until we start to see the potential of southerly flow starting to return to the four states by our Thursday and Friday. Freeman Health First Alert Doppler right now not seeing a whole lot. We've still got northerly flow. Another cold front will be moving through, and that will really usher in the drier air and also the colder temperatures, as well as breezy northerly winds that will last through the day tomorrow. Tuesday night into Wednesday, the possibility of maybe a flurry or two with some mid-level forcing, but dry air at the low levels may inhibit more appreciable amounts with better chances for flurries across central Missouri. For the most part, will likely remain dry. Tonight, we are going to cool off quite substantially, starting out in the low 30s by tomorrow. Not expecting much of a warm-up through the day tomorrow. And what we're also going to see is consistent northerly winds, likely in excess of 20 miles an hour at times. So it is going to be breezy for our Tuesday, which will have the further potential of causing wind chills in the low 20s. So make sure you bundle up as you're headed out the door tomorrow morning. And by the afternoon, only topping out in the low 40s, so it is going to be chilly through our Tuesday and even our Wednesday, where high pressure is going to be sticking around. We'll see the potential of it, though, moving further off to the east by our Thursday. Southerly flow replaces it. We should start to see a bit of a warming trend as a result. It should last even for our Friday. And in the next 6 to 10 and also 8 to 14 days, the potential of some above average temperature trends. Taking a look at your KSN forecast from your local weather authority. Tonight, a low around 31. Drizzle is going to be possible this evening, and we're going to be cold and breezy after those northerly winds really kick up. Tomorrow, a high around 42. Cooler temperatures with breezy conditions still expected. And we are going to see those temperatures cool off for a couple of days. We'll see lows in the 20s. And then we should start to warm up a bit by the end of the week. And for all the weather details you need at any time, just go to 4stateshomepage.com.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a warm-up there.
Yeah. May actually see, like I said, a little bit of some flurries tomorrow night. So hopefully that'll get realized. That'd be really nice to see.
That'd be super cool to see in December.
Yeah.
All right, Brett, thanks so much. Let's talk about sports now. Michael Imami joining us. Crowder softball finding its new head coach.
Yeah, the search took a few weeks, but Crowder softball has found a new coach to lead the program. Coming up in sports, you're going to find out about her previous stop and why she could be a huge asset to the Rough Riders. Plus, major commitment news with this young man, Alex Wilkerson. He's also, by the way, featured in our top 5 plays of the week, which is also headed your way straight ahead after the break.
is the Roberkia 4-State Sports Report with Michael Imam.
Well, after weeks of searching, Crowder College has found its new softball coach. Nikki Keck will join the Rough Riders as their 8th head coach in program history. She comes to Crowder from Dewey High School over in Oklahoma, where in 2019 she led the program to its first state tournament appearance in 16 years. Now, in the years that followed, the program's success continued under Keck with a semifinals appearance in 2021. She was named Coach of the Year multiple times at the district, region, and conference levels. Moving from Crowder to now the high school level, a well-known athlete from Lamar has made a big decision involving the continuation of his athletic career. Quarterback Alex Wilkerson has announced his commitment to play football for Emporia State. Now, Wilkerson has come up clutch in several big games during his time with the Tigers, most recently in the state title game this past week against the then undefeated Fairgrove Eagles. The senior had 4 touchdowns against that defense, including the game winner in the final minute. His totals included 91 rushing yards, 167 yards passing, and he also ended up leading Lamar to its 2nd straight state title and 10th total in program history. Well, it is now that time of the week where we take a look at your top 5 plays of the week.
These are the top 5 plays of the week, sponsored by Sticklin & Sticklin Law Firm. When sorry doesn't cut it.
All right, coming in at number 5, junior Rachel Nunez with a double-double on Saturday, making a ton of plays like this one, getting a steal, coast-to-coast bucket. She finished with 20 points, leading all scorers, and helped lead Miller to a Gem City Classic victory over Diamond. Play number 4, we head to the state championship game. Blair Oaks lines up for a field goal. Seneca's Hagen Ginger, not so fast. The 6'2 defensive end using his full frame to make the play right there. Seneca would ended up falling in this one, though, 38-28, but a great play right there by the defensive end nonetheless. At number 3, we head to NEO. Big body Buddy throwing down the hammer. Buddy Hammer, huge dunk. The 6'7 sophomore guard was rising up left and right in the Norsemen's 9th straight victory over Tabor last week. The Norsemen ended up taking this game 119-57. He had a highlight reel full of plays in that one. At number 2, we head to Friday night's state title game. Lamar versus Fairgrove. Aiden Sheet with a big breakout performance, coming up big where it mattered most. The senior racked up 122 receiving yards, ended up getting 1 touchdown in this one. And finally, at number 1, we're going to stay with this game. After being down 5, Lamar quarterback Alex Wilkerson engineering a brilliant 11-play, 72-yard drive to score the go-ahead touchdown in the final minute to win the state championship game. It was his 4th of the day, and it's also worth noting he did it with a bad hamstring. He had pulled it in this one, ended up toughening it out, getting the score, as Lamar ended up taking down Fairgrove 28-25 on this brilliant last-second score. And there's your look at your top 5 plays of the week.
The top 5 plays of the week was sponsored by Sticklin & Sticklin Law Firm. When sorry doesn't cut it.
So a lot of fun over this weekend, Friday and Saturday. We didn't crown Seneca, but we did crown Lamar this week. Seneca, though, with a great effort nonetheless in that Saturday
kidding.
game.
I'm really just happy for both of our local teams getting that far, and obviously just extra sweet for Lamar as well.
Oh, yeah. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, Michael, thanks so much. 30 more minutes of local news and weather are still ahead when we come back. TikTok's owner ByteDance is working to stop a law that would ban the app in the U.S. Stay with us.
Now from the KSN 16 Storm Center, your local weather authority. This is your forecast first.
Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Brett Scott here with your KSN forecast first. Wesco Home Furnishings Tower Cam, still some low clouds and drizzle over portions of the city of Joplin. However, we're starting to see an erosion of those low clouds from the north and west, likely drier air moving in at the low levels, starting to essentially create those dew point depressions and dry things out and erode that cloud layer. On the Freeman Health First Alert Doppler, not much in the way of precipitation to see, even though there is a little bit of drizzle out there. But we are monitoring those temperatures cooling into the low to mid 40s. And they're really going to cool off as we head through tonight after this cold front moves through. Winds will pick up out of the north. We will dry out as well. And we'll start out tomorrow morning in those low 30s and not warm up very much by the afternoon. Over to you, Jessica.
All right, thanks so much. A house in Commerce reportedly explodes with one person inside, the latest in the investigation. And if you haven't hung your Christmas lights yet, some tips to keep you safe this holiday season. Plus, TikTok is working to make sure the app is not banned in the U.S. Your KSN 16 local news at 6 continues now.
This is KSN 16, your local news at 6, with Jessica Shear, Jeremiah Cook, and meteorologist Brett Scott.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. The Jasper County coroner identifies a pedestrian killed as he was trying to cross Highway 171 in Carterville late Friday night. Just before midnight, 31-year-old Ryan Easley from Eagle Rock, Missouri, was struck by a Ford F-150 pickup truck. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says Easley was attempting to cross the highway when he was hit in the northbound lanes. He was pronounced dead at the scene and his next of kin was notified. The driver of the pickup truck, a 17-year-old teen from Webb City, was not injured in the crash, but his vehicle did sustain extensive damage. In another fatal crash from this weekend, a Lamar man died after running his UTV off a Barton County road. That crash was reported Sunday evening at 7. Troopers say 44-year-old Michael Bama was traveling on Northeast 40th Road when his Polaris UTV ran off the road and struck an embankment. They say the vehicle overturned, killing him. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Firefighters respond to a report of a house explosion in the city of Commerce. Now, when they arrived in the 400 block of North Elm just after 1:30 this afternoon, Quapaw Nation Fire Chief Sammy Freeman says that house was fully involved. He also said a back wall did appear to be blown out, likely indicating an explosion, but said the fire marshal will have to make the final ruling. One person was also inside at the time, but Freeman refrained from speaking any further on any injuries, saying the fire marshal again will release that information after the investigation. He does credit, though, the responding crews for putting the fire out so quickly and making sure there were no further injuries.
Quapaw Nation, Commerce Volunteer Department, and Quapaw Volunteer Department. And these guys done an outstanding job, made a fantastic stop on the house. Upon arrival, like I said, it was fully involved.
The fire marshal now takes over the investigation. And as we deck the halls this holiday season, the glow of Christmas lights brings joy, but it can also bring potential danger. Charmel Odell has more about simple ways the pros recommend to avoid turning holiday cheer into a holiday hazard.
It's kind of like being on ice. Yeah, you just want to take your time.
Liam Bright and Gavin Coker are young pros who've mastered the art of Christmas lighting, turning their passion for the season into stunning displays. But before stringing lights up, the experts say safety comes first. According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, there are about 200 Christmas decorating injuries each day during the holiday season, with almost half of them including falls.
If you move too fast, you could definitely end up getting yourself hurt.
Experts say make sure you hang lights with insulated hooks or clips, not nails or staples, to protect wiring and reduce fire risk. Also, avoid overloading your outlets. If you're climbing up to hang lights,
you kind of want to put like 1 foot on it, but not both feet, because then it's like not touching. You want to put 1 foot on it and like 3 points of contacts on the ladder when you're holding it.
But weather also plays its part. Heavy rain can turn holiday fun into a safety concern.
We try not to do it in poor conditions, but there's always a time when there's dew or stuff like that and the ladder's a bit wet, so that's where good shoes come into play. You don't want something with slick bottoms, you want good soles on them. It really all comes down to just taking your time.
A federal appeals court has delayed an Oklahoma death row inmate's hearing where he's expected to make a final plea for clemency. The 10th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals panel was scheduled to consider Kevin Underwood's clemency bid today. 2 of the 5 panel members resigned in recent weeks, and Underwood's attorneys say he has a right to a hearing before a full board. 44-year-old Underwood is scheduled to receive a lethal injection on December 19th. He was convicted in the 2006 murder of 10-year-old Jamie Rose Bolin, who lived in his apartment complex in Purcell, Oklahoma. The girl's body was found in a plastic tub in Underwood's apartment. She had been nearly decapitated. Underwood admitted he killed Bolin as part of a cannibalistic fantasy. Investigators found no evidence that any cannibalism took place. Underwood's attorneys argue he should be granted clemency due to mental illness. Well, ByteDance asks an appeals court to block the law that could ban TikTok in the U.S. That law gives the Chinese ownership of TikTok until January 19th to sell the short-form video app to avoid the ban. The requested injunction would allow TikTok to remain on U.S. app stores until the conclusion of their appeal with the Supreme Court. TikTok argues the order to sell the platform is an unconstitutional violation of the First Amendment. ByteDance, though, says that platform has been unfairly targeted, noting that user data from U.S. tech companies has been collected and sold around the world. A unanimous panel of the D.C. Circuit upheld the law on Friday, finding that it did not violate the First Amendment. And now here's a look at what's coming up tonight on News Nation.
So just how big is the federal workforce? I'm Blake Berman, host of The Hill on News Nation. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will lead the Department of Government Efficiency in the next administration. Among the watchdog's main goals include cutting the size of the federal government and potentially the federal workforce, which is made up of all sorts of workers, including government officials, law enforcement agents, scientists, and more. In November, there were nearly 2.4 million civilian federal employees all across the country. About 85% of them work outside of the nation's capital. That does not include workers from independent agencies like the Postal Service. In fiscal year 2022, the federal government spent roughly $271 billion on compensation for these workers. Musk and Ramaswamy are pledging to trim that number in the next administration. I'm Blake Berman, and this is the News Nation Political Minute.
Coming up, celebration from many as the 53-year Assad regime ends in Syria, but new questions now arise. And a person of interest is in custody for the shooting death of the United Health CEO. New questions arise following the fall of the 53-year Assad regime in Syria over the weekend. Here's our Washington correspondent Rashad Hudson with the story.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken said today this is a moment of historic opportunity, but also risk, and that includes the Pentagon's concern about a possible resurgence of ISIS. Celebrations around the world and in Syria took place after the downfall of Bashar al-Assad.
The end of this regime is a defeat for all who enabled its barbarity and its corruption.
Armed rebels took key cities before claiming the capital, Damascus. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says he's concerned about the safety of civilians.
It's imperative that all actors involved protect civilians.
Hundreds of thousands of people died in the country's civil war over the past 14 years. The U.S. military says it conducted airstrikes on ISIS targets in central Syria Sunday to keep the terrorist group from taking control of Syria.
To keep the pressure on ISIS and to deny them the ability to easily research.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says they hit 75 different targets.
I think that we're going to find that we've been pretty successful.
President Joe Biden reacted Sunday and said this about the ousting of Assad.
At long last, the Assad regime has fallen. It's a moment of historic opportunity.
Russian state media outlets report Assad and his family fled to Russia and received asylum. The Biden administration says who leads Syria forward is a decision for the Syrian people. Reporting in Washington, Rashad Hudson, back to you.
New York's mayor says a strong person of interest in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is in custody. NBC's Dan Sheneman reports on the significant development in the search for the man who gunned down Thompson last week.
The manhunt that began last week now focused in Altoona, Pennsylvania, where a man was spotted by a McDonald's employee who thought he looked suspicious, and the employee called police.
Officers made contact with the male, who was subsequently arrested on unrelated charges.
Police in Altoona contacted New York police, who are calling him a person of interest in the shooting death of United Health CEO Brian Thompson.
He has been identified as Luigi Nicholas Mangione. He's a male, 26 years old. He was born and raised in Maryland. We know he has ties to San Francisco, California, and his last known address was Honolulu, Hawaii. He has no prior arrest history in New York.
Police say he was found with evidence linking him to the crime.
Upon further investigation, officers recovered a firearm on his person, as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder. They also recovered clothing, including a mask consistent with those worn by our wanted individual. Also recovered was a fraudulent New Jersey ID, matching the ID our suspect used to check into his New York City hostel before the shooting incident. Additionally, officers recovered a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivation and mindset.
Brian Thompson was gunned down Wednesday in front of a Manhattan hotel, a shooting police called brazen and targeted. NYPD detectives and the district attorney's office now want to question this person of interest. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.
News Nation tonight, as police make an arrest in the United Healthcare CEO killing. An old friend of the subject talks to Chris. Then, Dan Abrams and John Walsh go over every detail of how the suspect was found. Then, Banfield wraps up the day's breaking news with a full hour on the case. It all starts on Cuomo tonight on News Nation. To find News Nation, go to newsnationnow.com.
That is all coming up on your respective channel there. Let's talk about weather now. Once again, meteorologist Brett Scott joining us with a look at our forecast. It has been somewhat of a very winter day without the snowfall, though.
Right. Thankfully, not in terms of those temperatures, though. But those low clouds and that drizzle definitely makes it feel like some winter weather outside. We are going to feel more like winter as we head through tonight with those temperatures falling out into the 30s. I'll have more details on that coming up next. Here's your almanac.
And now, from the KSN 16 Freeman Live First Alert Doppler Storm Center, weather with meteorologist Brett Scott.
Well, everyone, and good Monday evening. Wesco Home Furnishings Tower Cam still observing some low clouds out there across portions of Joplin. However, we should start to see an erosion of those clouds, something we've really been noticing primarily in our more northwestern regions across southeast Kansas, observing a little bit more clearing going on. That should help out with those temperatures starting to cool a bit, but the big cool down is going to come after a front passes through. Freeman Health First Alert Doppler, we're already seeing a little bit of cooling, like I said. Low 40s in our more northern regions, and then it warms up the farther south you go. Those low clouds will help out with that, even though we are expecting an erosion of that as we head through the evening and into the overnight. As you can see, those winds have calmed down a bit, anywhere from only about 3 to 7 miles an hour out of the north, although we have some more prominent winds off to our north and our west. Dry air is already starting to seep in a bit, as you can see with those dew points in the 30s up around Chanute. A little bit more available moisture to the south, where those clouds are still primarily located, and also precipitating just a little bit of drizzle. On water vapor imagery, we do have an upper level low pressure system off to our north and west, which is essentially going to be forcing in this cooler air mass, and it will be traversing our area throughout the day tomorrow. By Wednesday, though, it should start to move a bit further to the east, and especially by Thursday, we'll see the potential of what we call more zonal flow and possibly some influences from some upper level ridging. Should help to see us warm up a bit later this week, and then we're going to be monitoring our next upper level low pressure wave moving in from the west. It may bring some rain chances by Friday. Before that, though, of course, it's going to cool down. We're going to see much cooler temperatures in from the north that is going to be brought in tonight, and also we may see a reinforcement of that cold air by our Wednesday. So the cold is going to be on tap for Tuesday and Wednesday until we start to see a bit more southerly component of our winds, especially late Wednesday and then into Thursday. Should start to see those temperatures warm back up. Freeman Health First Alert Doppler, not a whole lot to see right now. Front's going to pass through as we head into this evening and tonight. We are going to see those northerly winds increase, and we are going to see those temperatures really start to fall. And by tomorrow night, with some upper level forcing and maybe some lifting mechanisms, the possibility of some flurries. However, better chances for this are likely going to exist just to our north and east where better forcing lies. And of course, moisture is going to be a limiting factor, especially it appears most likely at the lower levels. Will continue to be breezy and will likely continue to be dry. So tonight we're going to cool off quite a bit, start out in the low 30s tomorrow morning, and we are also going to see those winds increase out of the north after this boundary moves through, possibly gusting in excess of 20 miles an hour tonight and also through the day tomorrow. And of course that means wind chills in the 20s. So it's going to be cold. Make sure you bundle up as you're headed out tomorrow morning, and you'll likely need the coat throughout the day, only expected to warm up into the low 40s by the afternoon. By Wednesday, high pressure is going to be sticking around, but we will start to see it move further off to our east by Thursday. A more southerly component to our winds will move in, and we'll see the potential of a warming trend because of that. That'll likely continue even for our Friday. And the warmer weather may also be the case for the next 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 days, with above average trends expected in those temperatures. Taking a look at your KSN forecast from your local weather authority. Tonight, a low around 31. Drizzle will be possible, and we're going to be cold and breezy. Tomorrow, high around 42, cooler temperatures with breezy conditions expected. And we are going to see colder temperatures tomorrow and Wednesday, but we should start to warm up by the end of this week. And for all the weather details you need at any time, just go to 4stateshomepage.com.
Okay, we'll look forward to that warm-up then. All right, Brett, thanks so much. A Kansas City pastor shows off her unique holiday collection.
Coming up, your chance to see 500 nativities will soon come to an end.
Some people collect coins, trading cards, stamps, but a pastor in Kansas City has spent years collecting nativity scenes, and her collection has grown to about 500 sets.
She recently put them on display before shrinking her collection to give back to her church. Jacob Sloan has the story.
It's become a labor of love.
It takes 2 weeks, several days to put up, then we have the display, then several days to take down, and then I'm exhausted.
I mean, after all, setting up nearly 500 nativity scenes is no easy task. 60 tubs full of 2,500 pounds of artwork gets put up each year, and they're all different.
This one's just really ornate. It's a mixture of cloth and ceramic, and I think it's really beautiful.
There's some made of crystal, some of ceramic, some made of straw, and some that got sent with the wrong parts.
This one we think is funny because it has twin Marys. There's two right there.
Some are even broken, but are still on display.
But that reminds me that we're broken people too. We can still be useful. We can still bring pleasure to the world if we want to.
The collection started with Colrick's mother 64 Christmases ago.
One of the kings is carrying a shotgun shell because my dad was a duck hunter and she had it around the house just the right size. There's a shotgun shell. It's just hangers. That's all it is, wrapped.
But after 20 years of putting all of them up across the city and the country, it's time to downsize, no matter how much people love coming to see them.
Very blessed to have collected all of these lovely and different scents. What a variety. And my husband says they're from all over the world, so that's really cool.
It's just a gourd. You open the gourd, there's the star, there's the family, and it's from Peru.
Some of the proceeds are going to Miriam Christian Church's outreach program to help them give back to their community.
They mean something to me. And it means something to me that selling them can help somebody else. I like that.
Colrick says she just wants them to mean something to the people who take them home.
I always say if the nativity winks at you, then it's for you, and you take it home and you love it in your own family.
And for some, despite all their other decorations, the nativity is a reminder of the reason for the Christmas season.
I mean, we have a lovely Christmas tree and other things, but none of that would be celebrated if it wasn't for Jesus.
That last one there is the one I think I grew up with. I'll have to go rewind and go see.
That's so cool.
Very cool. Well, a major milestone for the Postal Service this holiday season happened right here in the 4 states.
Coming up, the 5 billionth package since Black Friday delivered this morning.
Finally, this evening, a southwest Missouri town known as Christmas City is chosen for a major milestone delivery. Knoll, which becomes Noel this time of year, today saw the 5 billionth piece of mail go through the post office since Black Friday. That is when the U.S. Postal Service began its annual count. It includes Christmas cards, letters, packages sent across the U.S.
Package number 5 billion left the post office around 10:30 this morning and was taken across the street and hand-delivered to Kathy Ramirez, the assistant manager of National TV Sales and Rental.
Actually, it's really a blessing. It's really, really cool, to know that there that many packages have gone through that mail, like to the post office. It's really, really cool. And I mean, it's just a blessing. Honestly, it is. It really is. It's a big deal.
We're going throughout the country, and there's so many different great places. We deliver for America every day, and we're really proud of that. So today, 5 billion, we're going to hit it today. We're going to do it right here in Noel, Missouri.
As for what's in the package, Ramirez says she'll wait to open it on Christmas Day. Last year, the USPS delivered around 12 billion pieces of holiday mail by December 25th. Mark Inglet expects to exceed that number this year.
Very interesting. I have noticed a lot of my Christmas gifts, I have family that lives afar, have been sent through the Postal Service, so that's probably why.
My soon-to-be wife, she's got our spare bedroom full of Amazon boxes right now waiting to be wrapped.
That's everyone right now. Tell us one last look at our forecast.
It's going to get cold tonight. Make sure you bundle up tomorrow morning. It's going to be cold over the next couple of days. Then we should warm up by late this week.
Okay, looking forward to that, Brett. Thanks so much. That's our news for now. Have a great evening.
We'll see you back here at 10, but before we go, we get a look at the Christmas lights in Pittsburgh.